The Young and the Restless spoilers, Monday the 10th of August, 2026. Welcome back to our channel, my beautiful soap family. Today is a beautifully dramatic day outside, but inside my living room, it is a dark, emotional roller coaster. Grab your iced coffee, grab a whole box of tissues, and lock your doors, because we need to talk about what just happened on our favorite show. Oh my God, I'm screaming. I literally cannot even deal right now. Okay, but listen to me. You guys have to listen to me right now because I just watched the most unhinged, absolutely wild, mind-blowing episode of The Young and the Restless, and my brain is completely fried. I was literally eating dinner, like just sitting there with my massive bowl of pasta, minding my own business, thinking this was going to be a normal episode, and I actually choked. I had to pause the TV, grab my water, and text my friend immediately because I thought I was hallucinating. But no, it's a standalone episode, a literal dream-centric standalone episode all about Nick Newman's descent into absolute darkness. And I am shaking. I am actually shaking. Mark my words. This is going to go down in Y&R history as one of the most traumatizing, iconic hours of television ever. I am so emotionally invested, I feel like these are real people, and I am personally offended by their choices. Okay, wait. Before that happened, actually, let me set the scene, because you need to understand exactly how dark and gritty this is. We start with Nick in this disgusting, dingy little motel room. The lighting is all sickly yellow and green, making him look like absolute death. He is completely high out of his mind, like sweating profusely. His hair is a mess. His eyes are completely glazed over, just completely lost to the drugs. He reaches into his pocket with these shaking hands and pulls out his stash, and he realizes he only has 4 packets left. 4. At this point, I'm yelling at my screen, "Nick, what are you doing? Get it together." His phone is just buzzing and buzzing and buzzing on the nightstand, and the camera zooms in, and it's texts from Sharon and Victoria. They are probably losing their absolute minds trying to find him, driving all over the city, calling hospitals, and he just ignores them. He literally ignores them and lies down on the gross motel bed. The audacity, not okay. I'm done. I was so mad at him. Like, why would he do that to his family? But wait, it gets so much worse. He falls asleep, right? And suddenly the lighting shifts and he's dreaming, but it feels so terrifyingly real. And who wakes him up? Matt freaking Clark. I can't breathe. Matt Clark, the literal devil of Genoa City, is standing over him in the motel room. I screamed. My dog actually jumped off the couch and started barking at the TV because I yelled so loud. Matt is just standing there, looking all smug and evil, wearing this dark jacket, and he tells Nick that he's finally free to be the real Nick Newman. Like, excuse me? Welcome to your new life, rich boy. That's what he actually said. The absolute nerve of this man. Nick tries to act tough, even though he can barely sit up. He's like, I'm going to fight this addiction. I'm going to beat you. And Matt just laughs in his face. He actually laughs this cold, dead laugh and says, sure you are, right after this next high. And then he leans in close and says, both you and I know that's not what you really want. I wanted to punch the TV. I seriously wanted to reach through the screen and punch Matt Clark right in his smug little face. And can we just talk about Matt Clark for a second? This man is the ultimate villain. Like, I have been watching this show for years, and nobody gets under my skin like Matt. He has this sick, twisted obsession with the Newman family, but specifically with Nick and Sharon. He has tortured them for decades. He literally assaulted Sharon back in the day. He's manipulated Noah. He's faked his own death, faked amnesia, and now he is using Nick's absolute lowest moment to play these sick psychological games. He wants to completely break Nick's mind before he breaks his body. It is so sinister. I was yelling at my TV. Someone call Victor. Someone call the police. Get this man away from Nick. But in the dream, Matt is God. Matt controls everything. I forgot to mention earlier, but Matt literally takes Nick's car keys. He just snatches them off the dresser, and he asks if Nick is ready to go for a ride. So now they're in the car. Matt is driving Nick's own car, and Matt is just taunting him relentlessly. He starts talking about how Nick's family has always had these massive, suffocating, impossible expectations of him. We get all these intense, flashing flashbacks of Nick's past, like all the times he was the golden boy, the heir to Newman Enterprises, the perfect son, and all the times he failed and fell from grace. Matt is just sitting in the driver's seat, acting like he's Nick's twisted savior, saying, "Thanks to me, you can step into the freedom you've always wanted. I am literally sick to my stomach." Matt is acting like he did Nick a favor by ruining his life and handing him fentanyl. It's psychological torture. Okay, where was I? Right. So they pull up to the shadow room, and this is where the episode goes from crazy to absolutely soul-crushingly devastating. Nick walks in, and the club is completely empty except for the weird pulsing neon lights. And he sees someone passed out on a table. I was squinting at my screen, leaning so close to the TV, like, who is that? Oh my God, it was Sharon. Sharon Newman is unconscious on a table. My jaw dropped. I literally dropped my fork onto the floor. Mariah is standing there next to her, and she is furiously crying. She screams at Nick to stay away from her mother. And then, which is insane, by the way, Mariah says that Nick caused this. She says Nick convinced Sharon to do drugs with him, and now Sharon is hooked and strung out. I was like, are you serious? Nick dragged Sharon down with him? In the dream, obviously. But still, the symbolism. Nick has always been Sharon's protector, but also her biggest weakness. And then Sharon wakes up, and she looks at Nick with these hollow, drug-addled eyes, and she says, "You helped me escape the boredom. Now I can be myself." No. Sharon would never. She needs to get it together. I swear. Even in a dream, this is too much for my heart to take. I was literally crying at this point. Mariah is sobbing, and she tells Nick that she's going to take her mom to rehab, and she's actually going to stick with it. Unlike Nick, who only lasted one single day before checking himself out. The shade, but also the absolute truth. Nick is a coward in this scenario. And then Nick tries to defend himself. He looks at Mariah with these big, pathetic, sad puppy dog eyes and says, "Mariah, I tried. And you guys, what happens next literally stopped my heart beating in my chest." Mariah looks at him. Her face goes completely deadpan. The music drops out, and she says, "I'm not Mariah. I'm Cassie." I am screaming, "Cassie." I had full body chills. I literally had to pause the show and walk around my living room because I couldn't handle the emotional damage. Cassie Newman, the trauma. Let's just pause and remember the actual lore of Cassie's death, because newer viewers might not understand why this is so devastating. Cassie was Nick's adopted daughter, Sharon's biological daughter, and she died in a tragic car accident back in 2005 because she was driving Daniel Romalotti home when she didn't even have a license. Nick has never forgiven himself. He has never gotten over the grief. It literally tore his and Sharon's marriage into a million pieces and led him straight into Phyllis's arms. So for his drug-addled brain to manifest Mariah, who is Cassie's literal twin, and morph her into Cassie to ask him if her death meant nothing, that is Shakespearean tragedy right there. That is top-tier soap opera writing. I was literally clutching my pearls. Mariah looks at him, piercing right into his soul, and asks, "Who are you? What happened to you? Did my death mean nothing to you?" The guilt, the psychological warfare his own brain is waging on him is unmatched. I honestly thought Nick was going to drop dead of a heart attack right then and there. It was so dramatic. I am tearing up just remembering it. Okay, wait. Did I already say that? Whatever. Anyway, Nick grabs Sharon and drags her out of the club because he can't face Cassie's ghost. He puts Sharon in the car. He's driving her down this super dark, creepy, winding road. He's panicking, sweating, looking in the rearview mirror. And suddenly, from the dark back seat, someone attacks him with a thick rope. They just throw a rope around his neck and start choking the life out of him. It's Adam. Of course it's Adam. Let's be real. Adam and Nick have been at each other's throats since Adam first came to town. They have fought over Newman Enterprises. They have fought over women. They have fought over their father's love. Adam has done some incredibly dark things in his past. So for Nick's subconscious to manifest Adam as the one who literally strangles him from behind in a dark car, it makes perfect sense. Nick fundamentally believes that Adam wants to destroy him, but deep down, Nick knows he is destroying himself, and he's just projecting it onto Adam. The psychology of this dream is so incredibly deep, I feel like I need a degree to unpack it all. Nick is gasping for air. He loses control of the steering wheel, and they crash. The sound design was terrifying. The screen goes completely black. I was holding my breath for what felt like 10 minutes. When the screen comes back, Nick is suddenly standing in the living room of the Newman Ranch, but it's not peaceful. The vibe is horrific. Adam and Chelsea are there, and they are in his face, completely hysterical, looking like their worlds have just ended. Nick is so confused, he's holding his head like, "Somebody tell me what I did." And Chelsea, oh my God. Melissa Claire Egan acted her absolute face-off in this scene. Give her the Emmy right now. She screams from the depths of her soul, "You killed our son!" I died. I literally died. Connor is dead in the dream? Chelsea, sobbing uncontrollably, explains that little Connor found Nick's drug stash, thought it was candy or something, took it, and overdosed and died. Connor, a child, I was sobbing. I had to grab a tissue box. Nick's addiction literally killed his innocent nephew in this nightmare. Chelsea is crying so hard she can barely stand, and she tells Nick that she and Adam are taking Christian away. They are giving Christian to foster care because Nick is too toxic and dangerous to be around any children ever again. Chelsea looks him dead in the eye with pure venom and says, "You ruin everything you touch, Nick." The absolute devastation. I can't even imagine the guilt he felt in that moment. Why would he do that? I know it's a dream, but the stakes feel so incredibly high. I was shaking. Nick can't handle it. He covers his ears and runs away. He runs all the way back to the shadow room because his brain is spiraling, the guilt is eating him alive, and he just wants his drugs to numb the pain. He needs his dealer. He sees his dealer standing in the shadows with a little baggie of white powder in their hand, and he runs up like a desperate animal and tries to snatch it. But the dealer turns around, and it's Nicky. Nicky Newman is his drug dealer. I'm losing my absolute mind. I fell off the couch. Nikki swats his hand away so hard. She looks at him with so much disgust and profound sadness. She says, "You're breaking my heart. Now you only lie to me. And don't even get me started on what happens next." Nikki tells him she is utterly ashamed of him. She says he is a monster. And then Victor steps out of the shadows. Victor Newman, in all his terrifying, booming voice, glory, he yells, "And she has every right to be ashamed. You are a disgrace." Victor is just ripping into him, tearing down every shred of dignity Nick has left. Nikki tells Nick that he's hurt so many more people than he even realizes. She says that she and Victor are separated again. Their marriage is over because Victor blames her for what Nick has become. The guilt trip to end all guilt trips. Nick is standing there, sobbing, realizing he destroyed his parents' epic love story. And then, oh my God, this was the hardest part to watch. This actually broke me. I need to go deeper into this because I am still not okay. Nikki Newman has been through hell and back. She has battled multiple sclerosis. She was literally just blind a few weeks ago because of a brain tumor. She has survived Victor's endless betrayals, but her alcoholism has always been her biggest demon. She fought tooth and nail for her sobriety. She goes to meetings. She does the work. For Nick to see himself as the catalyst that finally breaks her, to see himself as the literal drug dealer handing her the excuse to give up, it is the most heartbreaking thing I have ever witnessed. Nikki walks over to the bar in the club. She looks at the bottles. She orders a double vodka. Nikki, who is a recovering alcoholic, Nick realizes what is happening and he starts begging her. He's crying. He's like, "Mom, please, no, don't do it. I'm sorry." And Nikki just looks at him, completely dead inside, her eyes totally blank, and says, "If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me." And she downs it. She drinks the entire glass of vodka. She breaks her sobriety because of him. I was screaming at my TV, "No, Nikki, no." Victor looks at Nick with pure, unadulterated hatred and says, "You destroyed this family." I am literally crying just typing this out. It's too much. It's actually too much for a daytime soap. The psychological horror of watching your mother relapse because of your own addiction. Absolutely brilliant writing, but so painful. Suddenly the scene aggressively shifts and Nick is back in the dingy, gross motel room where he started. The dream is ending. Victoria is standing there at the foot of his bed. Victoria, the golden child, the co-CEO, the one who's always trying to hold the family together and clean up everyone's messes. She looks at him with pity. She tells him that he's hiding. She says he's hiding from being the hero of the family, that he can't handle the pressure, so he chose to destroy himself instead. And Nick just breaks. The tough guy act is completely gone. He shatters into a million pieces. He starts crying like a little boy. And he says, "I don't want to be an addict. I don't want to let you down." He says, "I want my life back." It was so raw and so real. Joshua Morrow deserves every single award for this episode. I am calling it right now. Mark my words. This performance was iconic. And then, bang, bang, bang. A loud knock on the door. Nick wakes up for real this time. He shoots up in bed. He's sweating through his shirt. He's panting. He's completely terrified, looking around the empty room. He stumbles to the door, barely able to walk, and opens it. And there's a woman standing there, a brand new character. Jade Harlow has officially debuted as Marie Kirkland. She's standing there in the hallway looking at him, and she says she's in the room next door and she heard him screaming and crying through the thin motel walls. Nick tries to brush it off. He puts on his fake tough guy voice. He's like, "I just had a nightmare. I'm fine. Leave me alone." But Marie doesn't leave. She looks at him. She looks past him into the messy room. She sees the desperation in his eyes, and she says, "So, you got anything to share?" What does that mean? I am literally pulling my hair out. Is she an addict too? Is she asking to share his drugs because she knows what's going on? Or is she asking him to share his feelings and be his sponsor or something? I am calling it now. This is going to end badly. Or maybe she's his guardian angel sent to save him before Matt Clark actually kills him. I don't know. My brain is spinning 1,000,000 miles an hour. I am so invested in this storyline. I feel like these are my actual family members, and I am personally offended by Nick's choices, but also I want to hug him and protect him from Matt Clark. I honestly don't know how I am going to wait until tomorrow's episode. I am going to be pacing around my house all day. Will Nick call Victoria back? Will he actually let Marie into his room? Where is Matt Clark right now? In the real world? Because we know Matt is out there plotting something horrific while Nick is trapped in this motel room fighting his own demons. The suspense is literally killing me. I need answers. And I need them yesterday. If you guys have any theories, you better drop them in the comments right now, because I need to talk to people who understand this level of stress. My real life friends are tired of me screaming about the Newman family, but I can't stop. This is peak television. Okay, I'm going to go rewatch the episode and probably cry again. Stay restless, everyone.